Yo, it's Batman Mo back with Media. Ramosi, you feel me? Sun shining out here. It's looking beautiful out this bitch, you feel me? Hey, but just a quick topic for y'all today. We're gonna get into it real quick. So I had people ask me, especially I was on a FaceTime not too long ago, probably like 2 days ago, and I had my homeboy. He asked me, he said, "So if you know most of this information about the spiritual shit, right, or the spiritual stuff," he said, "Who are the Anunnaki, right?" And I said to him that, okay, you have the Anunnaki in multiple different texts. In the Bible, they call them the Elohim. In the tablets, in your many different Sumerian tablets, they had called them many different names depending on what group you're talking about, because the Anunnaki was more than one group of beings. But they had the Ijiji and a couple other different names for them, right? And the Anunnaki are basically your futuristic beings that, or all your gods pretty much in these texts are futuristic beings that, came into our time space, because time don't work how people think it does. Time is really right now. And it's through the process of different points in time that they're able to travel from then to then, or past to future, and different things like that. So when you deal with these futuristic beings that have higher technology than us, and they're more developed in the genetics and their DNA than us, the Anunnaki actually came and affected the original growth of this planet, meaning we had an original hominid or original being that grew on this planet that was more primitive in nature and more like it wasn't a monkey. Don't get it twisted. It was still human, but it was just more hairy and all that shit, right? And the Anunnaki had came, and they had, they had genetically spliced the DNA of that original person that grew on the planet, and adding their genetics, and adding multiple different animal genetics and many different other species of genetics, right? Because this process of, them doing that sped up the evolutionary growth of this being. Why would they do that? They did this because in their atmosphere, on their planet, right? Because when you deal with their atmospheres, atmospheres are what's protecting the different levels of the planet, or we saying the ozone layer. Let's say ozone, right? So their ozone layers was dying because they had 3 different suns, and these 3 different suns was causing, it's a tri-solar system, and these 3 different suns was causing too much radiation, or ultraviolet radiation, right? Because too much sun could kill you too, just like anything. So they was starting to receive too much ultraviolet radiation, and because they had received too much ultraviolet radiation, they had to come, because they had interplanetary shopping, where different beings had came to this planet before, and many other different beings had went to many different planets to get natural resources and things like that. So they had came down they had came and wanted to come to our planet. In order to do that, they had a spaceship called Nibiru, right? And it's pretty much a planet-sized spaceship that was in a certain orbit. And in this orbit, they would come towards our planet. But the problem with that is, but while they was in orbit, they didn't see another planet that was. It wasn't the planet Maldek. It was a certain planet that was. I think it was Neptune. It was either Neptune or one of them planets. They didn't see the planet behind that planet. So since they didn't see Neptune behind Uranus, they accidentally got pulled by that magnetic field, and that magnetic field knocked them off their course. Because you got to know how magnetic fields work, but that magnetic field had knocked them off their course, and pretty much it caused them to run into another planet, and they ran into the planet Maldek. And the planet Maldek used to be in the solar system. This is the planet they don't tell you about. This was millions of years ago. But the planet Maldek was in the solar system, and it had these beings on it, right? These 3 foot tall beings, these reptilian type of beings, right? And they also had, the leaders of these Meldekians, which was big giant beings, right? Like 7-8 feet. And so, the Anunnaki or the Anunnaki or y'all want to call them Elohim or these many different names, they were about 7 feet. You know what I'm saying? So they had got knocked off course. And when they had got knocked off course and they hit the planet Maldic, they accidentally destroyed part of that planet, and the planet had started to, be in different parts of the solar system. But basically, they thought they was under attack because part of the planet was underwater and part of the planet was on land, of course, because any planet has water. When you hit their planet or you hit the rock part of their planet, that's more of a solid surface. But when you deal with water, everything slows down in water. So the beings that was under the water didn't get affected as much. So they thought they was getting attacked. They attacked the Anunnaki, and the Anunnaki ended up, pretty much, I ain't gonna lie, basically they had to fight back. And you know what I'm saying? So through this process, the Anunnaki still had to, had wars going on and many different things going on because of them trying to get resources to save their planet and things like that. So now that they were starting to come to our planet and, get these resources and things that they needed, you have a multitude of different beings. My bad, my phone was dying, but basically when they had got here, right, they had workers that were under them. They were like a lower class that, were mining for these resources like gold, like just many different resources. I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of different resources on the planet, in the water, and, between just many different elements that we had here. Gold was one of them. It wasn't just gold, but gold was one of the important ones because of what gold does for the atmosphere and the body and different things like that. But these beings basically got tired of doing the job, and they wanted, they wanted another worker to do the job for them. So this is why they spliced the DNA. And before, it was just more like these beings, they was like, we can't make them too, too, primitive. We gotta make them, we gotta add a little bit of our essence in them, or they gonna start, being a little, extra. So they added some of their own DNA, and they capped their DNA off, meaning like the telomeres in their DNA, they capped the DNA off to a certain strand, so they can't achieve a certain level of godhood too fast, or have these 12-stranded DNA and these higher levels of in states of being too fast. You know what I'm saying? Because they needed them to be in a work mentality. So now this is how you get the present day man when we're talking about how the Anunnaki came and affected us on this earth. And they also when they was coming in, they had affected the planet in many different ways because of war and different things like that. Now you had Tiamat that was split. You had Tiamat that was split off. It used to be Tiamat, and then it got split off to Ki because of the four winds and different things like that. And we could talk about that and various things, but I'm just giving you a brief overview of who the Anunnaki is and, who these alien beings or these gods, or when you see Elohim, let us go down and make man in our image. That's all them. You know what I'm saying? You talking about how you have Anu, or you have the being that was the head of these beings that would instruct them to do certain things. And basically they was never evil. They had malevolent beings too, but they have benevolent beings too, just like anybody, you feel me? But through the choice of will, when you have will, you can affect the realities in many different ways because you have a choice to do what you want to do, just like anybody on any state of existence. So that was just a brief overview of the Anunnaki. Y'all want to hear more about it? I can talk more about it. Just let me know in the comments. You feel me? Y'all follow my channel, and I got other channels on YouTube, Instagram. Y'all feel me? Fuck with me. All right, it's Bam Memo.